Good morning, everybody. We're having a great morning. It is Sunday. It's actually the 15th of December, and we are 10 days, exactly 10 days away from Christmas Day. I know a lot of you are into the season of Christmas and you are celebrating and you are shopping, but whatever you do, please do so responsibly. All right. Now this morning we are back at it again. Yeah, no matter how early it is, my lips gotta say stick. Anywho, anywho, guys, I hope y'all woke up with a great feeling this morning. I hope y'all woke up this morning with love in your heart, with a desire to do better, to be better, not just for you, but for humanity, for those around you. All right. This morning we are going to be resuming our Bible studies. I told you last week that we were going to come back this morning because we kind of slack off a little bit over the last few weeks. We kind of slack off a little bit. So we are going to get back in the groove. And I'm not going to go back to Genesis. If those of you who want to hear the reading of Genesis, you may go over to my YouTube channel and listen to it. It is narrated over there. Actually, the Bible is narrated all the way up to Exodus something, 20 something, I believe, 26, 28, somewhere around there. But this morning, we are going to take a look at Exodus chapters 18 and 19. Now, for those of you who are just coming, those of you who are just discovering my channel, those of you who are new here, before I go any further, I want to say a very special welcome to you. I want to say thank you so much for joining me, but I just want to make this clear that when I come here and I'm reading the Bible about it is not from a place of judgment. I'm not judging anybody who is following Christianity or any other religion for that matter. I am reading the Bible for myself actually, but I've chosen to share this experience with you all. And we're going to talk open-mindedly about what we are reading, not what you are feeling, not what you have believed. I want to believe, and I am free to believe what I want to believe. And so is everybody else, free to believe what they want to believe. But we must come to the understanding that a belief that does not have irrefutable proof is not a fact. Okay? A fact, you always decipher a fact and come up with the working components that has made it a fact. That's totally different from a lot of the text that we are going to encounter. So just to make that clear, this morning while we read Exodus chapters 18 and 19, we will see, I won't say, while we read it, we will come across text that we need to pay a little bit of closer attention to. Okay? All right. So I know some of you don't have your Bible, some of you have your Bible. Remember, this is not a Christian network. This is not a network. This is not a channel where I am spewing any for or against theory. I am only my information comes solely from the book in which we have been all indoctrinated to follow. And many of us follow blindly, and we just say, oh, if it's in the Bible, then it's got to be true. And so I don't care what nobody says, I don't care what anybody, it's in the Bible, it's got to be true. And we have to escape that mindset because the Bible itself was, in my opinion, the Bible itself was not compiled. And somebody asked me why I always say compiled, and I say it without reservation that the Bible was compiled. Do you know what the word biblioteca means? A compilation, a collection of writings. So the Bible was compiled from numerous ancient Hebrew writings. And a lot of these things are so inconceivable. They have got to have been read by somebody with an expansive imaginary mind, because these things are not possible. Many of these things, it's not possible, humanly possible, for many of the things that we read in the Bible to happen. So we can agree that there are some parts fairy tale. Okay. With that being said, if you have a Bible for yourself and you want to follow along with us, you are welcomed to do so. Okay. Let me see who the people who are here this morning. Let me see who is here. I see Mikey, Mickey, however you pronounce your name there. Um, Pastor Babas. Moses have some goat in the Bible, you know. You can't get some for Christmas. Moses have goat, ram and cow and all kinds of stuff. You don't have to go teeth none. But anywho, it's Sunday morning and we gotta knock this off in about the next say hour and a half or so. So let us get to cracking. Hold on, let me look for something else. So. Okay. All right, so guys, without further ado, without me saying anything else, we are going to start with the reading. And as we read, we are going to talk about what we are reading, what we are seeing on the pages of the good book, right? We're gonna talk about it. All right, we are on to Exodus chapter 18. Okay. I mean, I don't know why my flashlight not working. You can't tell me why the flashlight on my phone not work. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to try to read it without much light. So I'm gonna bear with me. We're gonna go a little at a time, okay? Exodus chapter 18. In Exodus chapter 18, that is where, Moses was has led his people out of Egypt, and they have gone across the Red Sea, and now they are in this wilderness, and he has these people in the wilderness, and the people are upset because, this sparse, and um it's different from the way they were living in Egypt. So now the people them are getting upset with Moses, like, this you carry from Egypt to come carry in this wilderness, we will cold and mosquito bite you and all these things. You better we stay in Egypt, because even though we were in bondage, we were in a better situation. And look this now, you just brought us out of Egypt and carry us here. Like really, Moses? I really this you carry out your suffer? We know how people are. If you take them out of one situation and the other situation you put them in is not immediately better than the last situation, in short order, they're going to be upset, they're going to be angry, and they're going to start saying, carry me back, me rather go back. People don't want their circumstances to change for suffering. Okay? But we're gonna start with the reading. We are going to start with the reading of Exodus chapter 18. It says, when Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, and that the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt, then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her back. All right. That part there was rather interesting. Chatting, what's up? Chatting Pain, what's up? How you doing? Good morning, my love. That part here, my friends, was rather interesting. Now, before this, I had not read that Moses had sent back his wife and his two sons back to Midian. So, so to go on this called journey that God is supposed to be leading Moses on, God tell him, because remember Moses said he was doing everything according to what God tell him. So God tell him for you to go on this journey, you have to abandon your wife and your pitney them. You have to send them back to her father. That was rather interesting. When I read that, I was like, hmm. So Moses was not allowed to keep his wife and his two sons with him as he went on this journey that was being directed by God, that God was taking him on. Advice for someone going through depression. Okay, Brianna, you are thinking, great, beautiful. That would be the advice for somebody who is going through depression, somebody who is unsafe, where you would get that instructions to say, listen, you have to stay away from the people you love for fear you might hurt them. You might hurt them. This journey you are going on is not safe. Imagine somebody come and say, you know what? I am going to take my family and I am going to walk from New York to Florida, and I am not going to stay in any house at night time. We're going to sleep on the side of the 95, and we're not. And you make this known that this is what you're going to do. And your family includes a wife, a 2-month-old, and a 5-year-old. They're going to tell you, no, you can't go with your wife and children. If you are grown, if you want to go, you can go, but not with a wife and children. So what would have caused Moses to have sent his wife and his children back to his father-in-law so he alone could embark on this journey of taking these people across the sea and in the... And you know something, people? I think if Jethro had not brought his daughters, the poor, and his 2 grandsons back to Moses, Moses never was going to go back for them. He wasn't going to go back for them. But we're going to continue reading. We're going to continue. So Jethro brought Moses' wife and children to him. Says, see your wife and you're putting them here. You're not going to just come send back your wife because you're going on this crazy journey. You come take your wife and you're putting them because they are your responsibility. All right, make we continue. And her 2 sons, of which the name of one was Gershom, for he said, I have been an alien in a strange land. And the name of the other was Eleazar, for the God of my father, said he, was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, with his sons and his wife unto Moses into the wilderness, where he encamped at the mount of God. The man did right. The man did the right thing. Say, listen, you come take your pitney them. Come take your pitney them and your wife. You know, wherever you're going, carry your pitney and your wife with you because that's your responsibility. Now leave them over here any longer. I remember he must have brought them back to Gershon a while. I mean, to Jethro. He must have brought them back to Jethro a while. Because since we had read about him being in Midian And Jethro had been giving him Zipporah. We never heard of it said anything about his wife again or his children. So he must have left them there for a while. Let me hope the Bible tell us how old they were when Jethro brought them back to him. But let us continue in the meantime. And he said unto Moses, I, thy father-in-law, Jethro, am come unto thee, and sons with her. And Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, and did obeisance, and kissed him, and they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent. And Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done unto Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and all the travail that had come upon them by the way, and how the Lord delivered them. Now, what he's talking about here is the the plagues, the plagues that were brought upon the Egyptians had refused to let the Israelites go. Um, we're going to discuss that another time. But for those of you who are new here and those of you who don't know, because I know a lot of people have only heard of the Bible and they only say, oh, I believe what's in the Bible, but they never read a book of it in their lives. We will go back and read about Moses and all those plagues that were brought on Egypt, the plague of the locust, the firstborn, the death of the animals, the hail, the fire, all those things that were brought on Egypt because Pharaoh refused to let the Egyptians to let children of Israel go. And we will talk about why Pharaoh refused to let the children of Israel go. Because was it that he refused? Or was it that this was God orchestrating a refusal? Because each time he sent Moses and Aaron to talk to Pharaoh, he repeatedly said, I will harden Pharaoh's heart that he will not comply. So what was the point? Until now, I can't understand that part of it because I don't understand the point. You are sending him to say, okay, tell him to let the people go so they may go in the wilderness and serve me. But in the same breath, he says, but I will harden Pharaoh's heart to ensure that he does not comply. And this hardening of the heart continued repeatedly. And I asked why? What was the objective for that? What was the goal? What did they achieve for that? See, that's quite a story that I believe that is part of the imagination of the author. But we are going to continue. We will continue. Verse 9. And Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness which the Lord had done to Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Jethro said, Blessed be the Lord, who hath delivered you out of the hands of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of Pharaoh, who hath delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods, for in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and sacrificed for God. And Aaron came, and all the elders of Israel, to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to judge the people. And the people stood by Moses from the morning until the evening. Somebody there, pum pum pasta. Eh, listen, listen. I bet you one Jamaican, Jamaican name, you come up with some name. With some name, Pum Pum Pasta. Bless up yourself, Kazen. Kazen, what's up? Happy Sunday to you, my love. Let me continue. All right. So here, Moses, Moses is sitting on the throne because you see, Moses has to be in control. Moses is like micromanaging everything and everybody. And how in the world is he going to be able? Oh, plantation vibes. Okay, okay. All right. I mean, plantation vibes until the morning. But stay safe out there, my love. Yeah. So here we see Moses is micromanaging everything. Moses wants to be the one who knows everything. He wants to be the one who sits up there and have all the people. Remember, little bit of people, I want whole heap of people, I want a whole heap of people. And Moses wants to sit there every day. He sits in front of the people and to have all these people come to him to tell him their problems. Okay, Kaiser, no problem, my love. Yeah, to come to him one by one to tell him their problem. To tell him what their neighbor has done to them so that he can cast the judgment as to say what's the punishment is going to be. So God didn't tell him that gonna look normal, that not gonna work. I guess not. But let us continue. So verse 13, it says, and it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to judge the people. And the people stood by Moses from the morning until the evening. And when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did to the people, he said, people, why sittest thou thyself alone, and all the people stand by thee from morning till evening? And Moses said unto his father-in-law, because the people came unto me to inquire of God. So you see, Moses tell himself, saying, listen, I'm the only person who has met God. I'm the only person who gets instructions from God. I'm the only person who talks to God. Therefore, the people got to me for those godly instructions. Nobody else around here. Nobody else around here can give them these instructions. Nobody else around here has these special as I do in talking to God. Verse 16 says, when they have a matter, they come to me, and I judge between one and another. And I do make them know the statutes of God and his laws. And Moses' father-in-law said unto Moses, the thing that thou doest is not good. So imagine, it takes an ordinary man to tell Moses the thing that he's doing that I'm sure he claims is God told him to do. It takes an ordinary man to say to him, Moses, that a foolishness. That a foolishness way I do. That no make no sense. You don't find that interesting? I find that to be quite interesting. Because I would think that based on the narrative of the directives that Moses being given, that the directives would be top notch, tippy top, perfect from the jump. That's what I would think. But it takes a man, an ordinary man, in Moses' father-in-law, to say to him, listen, me don't know where you get the idea from, but what you're doing, but what you're doing make no sense. What you are doing is absolutely ridiculous. Angela, bless up your nice clean cell, girl. Hey, bless up your nice clean cell. Morning, morning, Angela. Bless up yourself, sis. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Happy Sunday morning to you. Happy Sunday morning. We are doing this thing again. Yeah? Yeah, we are doing this thing again. Okay. It's early. Yeah, man, early morning. From 4 o'clock, me get up in my early rise now. 4 o'clock in the morning, me up. Yeah, me up, get up this morning and get a couple of things done. And I say, all right. I promised the people them so this morning I was going to start over about the Bible reading where we are going to talk about it. And those of you who like to hear just the narration without the flubbing and without me, I'm talking over it and all of that. You just want to listen to the reading. I don't know when I come to your life, it is frozen all the time. Then I frozen again this morning. I don't know. How must you bring the freeze with you, brother? Angela, are you bring the freeze with you? Because at the last night the life was so good. Just because I eat the piece of rum cake, I don't know my body. Me can't hold liquor. I say me drop asleep on the live. I say, what is not this, Father Jesus? I have to wake up and cut off the live. Believe it. Drop asleep. Yeah. And it wasn't freezing last night. But this morning now it a freeze again. I don't know what to say about it, yeah, man. I honestly don't know what to say. But we are going to move right along. So here in verse 18, Jethro says to Moses, "Thou wilt surely wear away both you and this people that is with you, for this thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself." That's why father-in-law said to him, you can't do this by yourself. Because if you do this by yourself, you are going to perish and the people are going to perish with you. You can't possibly do this by yourself. And he further will give you counsel, and God shall be with you. Be thou for the people to God. Me now work well with this, Me now work well with this. Hold on, because me now see. You can't see. All right, see that's all. Oh, so somebody takes me to the enjoy the movie. You enjoy? Okay. All right. See me there now. Different settings. Let me read it now. Now I can see. Verse 19. And Jethro says to Moses. Now this is Jethro still speaking to his son-in-law Moses. And he says, "Hark now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and God shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to Godward. Thou mayest bring the causes unto God. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and what do. Moreover, thou shalt provide all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place more over them to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens." Now this is Jethro giving manage the crowds. He said, you one can't sit down up there every day and having all these thousands of people coming to you and you splitting between everybody's problem. What that's going to do, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get burnt out. The people are going to get frustrated because how many people can you see in a day? How long do you plan to sit there? The daylight hours. You're going to end up with a whole backlog of all these people, all the problems that people are not able to resolve because you don't have enough time. Are you alone? Jethro said that is nonsense, Moses. What you need is to divide the people in thousands and tens and choose wise men among your group, among your people, and appoint them to be over these people. Like you say, okay, you are going to be the governor. You be the governor of the children of of the descendants of Benjamin. You be the governor of the descendants of Reuben. You be the governor of the descendants of Issachar. And then you divide them into 50s. You divide them into thousands, then into hundreds, then into 50s, and then into tens, so that the issue be resolved. And then now, if something is too complex for these lower level managers to handle, then they bring it forth unto you. But you one can't sit down today intending to solve everybody's problems. So let's move on. And then now in 22 he says, and let them judge the people at all seasons, and it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee. If thou shalt do this thing, and God command thee so, then thou shalt be able to endure, and all this people shall also go to their place in peace. So Moses hearkened unto his father-in-law and did all that he had said. Now, imagine Moses say he was being led by God, and everything that he was doing, and God tell him to do it, and it had to be perfect the way it is because of God tell him to do it. And it took a man, an ordinary man. It took an ordinary man to say to Moses, where do a foolishness? And I find that interesting. I find that to be quite interesting because the all-knowing God would have known that these things that Moses would have done or was going to do was not going to work. So the instructions should have been clear from the beginning that this is what you're going to do. You're going to break up the people, the rule over the people into different slots and appoint different people over them so that you are not burnt out. And it took an ordinary man to tell Moses that. But let us continue. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of tens. And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard cases they brought to Moses, but every small matter they judged. And Moses, and he went his way unto his own land. So after Moses' father-in-law came, he came and he brought, look at Moses, where I do not right. I guess his father-in-law realized that that Moses is running here. So this is questionable. All that Moses is doing here. But in any case, I'm going to help him. I'm going to show him that what he's doing is not right. But at the same time, I'm going to have to keep him wife and him pitney them because I'm not taking them back to Midian with me. They are staying here with him. And I think God told Moses was to abandon his wife and his children. Okay, just saying. I don't know, because Moses was apparently doing everything by God's directions, right? So if he was doing everything by God's directions, who instructed him to abandon his wife and his children? To come to lead a flock out into the wilderness. But anywho, we are going to continue. We are going to read chapter 19 as well. Exodus chapter 19. Let's see what happens here. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land, that's in the 3rd month, 3 months after they had left Egypt. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from They were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness. And there Israel camped before the mountain and unto God. And the Lord called unto him out of the mountain. Okay. Saying, Thou shalt, thus shalt thou say, house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, He have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bear you in eagles, or I bear you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So this year now would be God playing favorites. Okay. All right. But if these people obey him, they will be of a peculiar treasure towards him. Yeah. But let's see. As we continue to read, we will see whether or not the Israelites got any better treatment than anybody else in the world. Do you think? I was saying, I think it was yesterday on the live, I was saying, yesterday, the day before, I was saying that in Christianity, the people who are Christians and hailing and hating on people who are not, and getting upset with people who are not, who don't subscribe to Christianity, they don't understand that the same afflictions that are prone to affecting people who are non-Christians also affect people who are Christians. So my question was, um, what's this extraordinary benefit? I was hoping for an answer, but I know I'm not going to get one. What's this extraordinary benefit? Do people who claim to be Christians, do they not get heartache? Do they not get disappointment? Do they not get sick? Do they not die? Do they not experience all the things that everybody else experience? Okay. It's the same way as with the Israelites. The Israelites were led by Moses to believe that they were such an extraordinary people that the God who is the God of the entire world chose them for preferential treatment. But did they get preferential treatment? No. They still were taken into bondage. They still were slain with the sword. The pestilence still came upon them. They still died. They still had all the problems that the rest of the world had. So what exactly was the extraordinary treatment that they were led to believe that they were going to get by making these sacrifices and doing all these extraordinary things? I'm asking. But let me continue. Let me continue. Was I? Okay. And he shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people and said, All that the Lord hath spoken, we will do. And Moses the words of the people unto the Lord. So apparently Moses go upon this mountain now, go talk to God, and whatever God tell him, he come back down off Mount Sinai and tell it to the people. And my question with that is, if God was sitting, standing, whatever he was doing up on Mount Sinai, the people were right there. Only nothing say God could have stayed up on Mount Sinai and say out loud what it was that he wanted to say to the people so everybody could hear it at the same time and everybody could hear exactly what he's saying so that there's no misunderstanding. Wanna ever play a game there at school? Like, what a game they did name? What we used to call that game there again? Where the teacher whispers something, they put you all in a circle, and the teacher whispers something to the first person, and the person is supposed to tell what the teacher whispered to them in the ear of the person beside them. And this continues for succeeding people until it gets to the end. And then the person heard was indeed what the teacher had said initially. You never played that game, that yeah, I used to love playing that game at school. And it's always funny how by the time the story totally different. Totally different. Sometimes it was not even close to what the initial statement was. So I say, if God have all of these people right there in front of him, and he's up on the mountain, why wouldn't he have just stayed up on the mountain? The people are at the foot of the mountain. Just declare all that he wanted to declare so that all of the people would have heard it at that time. Imagine telling to Moses, and Moses coming down and telling to the people. You think Moses had a bullhorn? You think Moses had a loudspeaker? You think Moses had a PA system? Because it wasn't just a few people, you know, my friends. It was a whole heap of people. Did they have a PA system to ensure that all these people heard so that there was no misunderstanding? But he had to be the one to go up on the mountain to talk by himself. Okay. Let us continue. Let us continue. And the Lord said unto Moses, in a thick cloud, that the people may hear what I speak with thee. Okay, so all right. God are coming out a thick cloud for the people to hear what he says to Moses. And believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord. Now the word of the people, remember, the people had said, whatever Moses tell them that God said, that's what they're going to do. That's what he said the people had told him. All right. And the Lord said unto Moses, go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes and be ready again the third day. For the third day, the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. No, say, all right, let me around me. Say, was it yesterday or the day before? One of these days, when somebody was saying that as human beings, we are not worthy. That was the word. We are not worthy to stand in the presence of God. We who are supposed to enter into his presence are not worthy to stand before him. So therefore, my question is, how worthy was Moses? Because Moses was an ordinary man. I mean, when I say, oh, Moses was an ordinary man with extraordinary abilities given to him by God. I don't say that to not say. But Moses was no different from the other men. But let us continue. I'm going to say something, I'm change my mind. Let us continue. And everything good for talk. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to thyself that ye go not up into the mountain, or touch the borders of it. Whosoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. That right there is questionable. So God is on the mountain. Oh, listen to me good. God is up on the mountain. The people are at the foot of the mountain. These are the people that God wants to tell how to live so that they can be serving him. These are the people he wants to serve him, and he wants them to act accordingly. He don't want them to go astray. Moses is the one he has chosen to give all these messages to the people. But while God is up on this mountain, the people them are not permitted to go near the mountain or to touch, or else they will be put to death. And shortly thereafter, the same God said to Moses, say, thou shalt not kill. Oh, to make it make sense. Because I know say I can't me alone have these questions. So let me get that right. So God is upon Mount Sinai, and he has told Moses to tell the people they must sanctify themselves and wash them clothes for 3 days, because on the third day he's going to appear to them, right? But in the meantime, none of them mustn't go upon the mountain, none mustn't touch the mountain, them nor their animals, because if them touch the mountain, they will surely be put to death. And the same God is preparing to tell Moses, thou shalt not kill. Just for the people to go on the mountain, to touch the mountain. Because if I was in that crowd and I hear that God is on the mountain, I would want to go up. I would want to touch the mountain. But you see, that is the beginning of control, of fear. Whoever was up on that mountain, Moses wanted to make sure, this is now my opinion, whoever was up on that mountain, Moses wanted to make sure that the people did not discover, because he knew if the people discovered who was, the whole hoax was going to fall apart. And Moses did not want to risk that. So Moses told the people, oh no, for the 3 days that you all are washing and sanctifying yourselves, you dare not go close to the mountain. Don't even touch it. Neither you nor any of your little goat, your little cow, your little sheep, your little chicken, them, make sure nothing of yours touch this mountain, or else you will be put. You all realize that the only answer for any problems then was death. You realize it? No matter how simple. Daniel is here. Zuri, what's up? No matter how simple the offense is, the answer is always death. And at the same time, Moses, he was given the instructions by shall not kill. But we're going to continue. Make us continue. Let us continue. Verse 12. And thou shalt see bonds. Thou shalt see, not see sets. Let me need my glasses. And thou shalt unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the borders of it. Whosoever touches the mount shall surely be put to death. There shall not a hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it be beast or man, it shall not live. When the trumpet sounds long, they shall come up to the mount. I got up on the mountain, What if there was a curious kid who claimed that, well, if God is up there, me want to see him for myself. You see how Moses already controlled them with fear. Want to see how they are already controlled with fear. God upon the mountain, but you dare not even touch the mountain. Because if you so much as touch the mountain, you shall be put to death. It never say, when you touch it, you have to just turn over, drop down dead, He said, is they are the ones who are going to put the people to death if they just as much as touch the mountain. Them say them are going to either stone them or use a bow and arrow and pew them. And this is in God's presence. I'm going to say something right about the story. But who am I to say? Who am I to say? Let us continue. And Moses went down from the mountain unto the people and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mountain, and the voice of the trumpet was exceedingly loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the nether part of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was altogether, and Mount Sinai was altogether, on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked greatly. Mishabu, what's up? Good morning, Mishabu. How are you doing? Verse 19 says, and when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mountain, and the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. And the Lord said unto Moses, go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto the Lord to gain, and many of them perish. Interesting, right? Very interesting, right? So they smoke this fire upon the mountain, and a voice from behind this fire called out to Moses to come up to the mountain. And when Moses went up on the mountain tell Moses, go down there and charge those people. Some of them like for gear, some of them like for be nosy. You go down there and you tell them Anyhow, them try to be nosy to find out what's going on up here, they shall die. Excuse me, my question is, why? Why would it be that God, listen, I don't know, I have to take my sit and make laugh sometime. That's how me keep my sanity. Would God be so afraid that the people would be able to see who he was? Why was he so concerned that there might be some nosy people who try to creep upon the mountain to come see who this? Why would he have been so concerned? What was he hiding? What was he hiding? No. That's my just ask. Because this right here is quite specific of somebody who has something to hide. It does sound like it is somebody who deliberately has the interest of the people at heart. It seems like there is a hoax going on, and they don't want the people to discover this hoax. So they start controlling the people with fear. If you touch this mountain, we're not going to just wait for enough to drop and die. We are going to ensure by stoning you or by pewing you. Because we don't want you to see God. We don't want you to see who is up on the mountain. We don't want you to see what's going on up on the mountain. To me, that right there is questionable. But we are going to continue. I know me say so at the Bible. Because neither king said God would want the people. God would want the people to see him. He would want to see the people. He would, or even if he was on the mountain and people were being curious and tried to creep around the other side of the mountain to come up to see what was going on, that he would be compassionate towards them. I say, look at this one here. He is sneaking. He's trying to see what is going on up here. It's real stuff going on up here. It's just God and Moses having a conversation up here. No, go back down and go tend to your animals. No, not that kind of compassion. The kind of compassion is rock, stone, or pew with a bow and arrow. That right there is one reason why I say this was a cult. Actions, all of it is questionable. All of it is questionable. But that's just me. I'm free to believe. Makes sense to me. But let us continue. So God said to Moses, say, any of the people who try the mountain to come up here to see who is up here or what is happening up here, we'll have to go them, because we don't want anybody else to know of what is going on here. So that Moses can revel in this illusion of grandeur that he's this great person. And they don't want the secret to come out because that can leak and the other countries surrounding. And Moses cannot afford that, because remember, he left out of Egypt on a high horse, saying, God had chosen him to lead the people and to come out of this bondage. And remember, while he was in Egypt, he was, he sort of became this celebrity because he suddenly, according to the story, he was able to perform. All these wonders were being performed because between him and Aaron, they could put a staff across a river or a body of water. It turns into blood. They could put the staff back and make the blood disappear. They were throwing down staffs and stuff were turning into snake and all these things that were happening. It made Moses into a local celebrity. So Moses cannot afford to mess that up, because he cannot afford for the Egyptians and the Syrians and the others to say, Moses a fraud, a foolishness. So he had to continue. He had to keep this up. So that's why he didn't want the people to come around on the mountain, because he did not want them. He was afraid that they might discover what's really going on. That's how I see it. But anyway, I'm going to continue. And let the priests also, which come near the Lord, sanctify themselves, lest the Lord break forth upon them. And Moses said unto the Lord, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for thou chargest us, saying, set bounds around the mountain, and sanctify it. And the Lord said unto him, away, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee. But let not the priests and the people break through to come up unto the Lord, lest he break forth upon them. So Moses went down and spake unto them. And that is the end of Exodus chapter 19. There's so many questions that's in my mind right now. So many questions regarding this part of the Moses story. There are so many questions and no answers. I find it to be quite questionable that any God would display this much callousness towards the people whom he claimed to love, the people who he claimed that he was going to have to be over all the other people in the earth. These were his favorite people that he was going to love, who loved them, and hate them. Interesting. Why God wouldn't show his face to the people? See, even Moses had to remind him. Why would Moses have to remind God that the people them can't come up here? Just tell me, say, tell me the other day if you tell the people them say them can't come near the mountain. Because if them come near the mountain as much as touch the mountain, I'm supposed to order them put to death. You have to tell me, say, if you bring up the priests. You said only me was supposed to come. So all you have to tell me now if you bring up the priests. And he say, okay. Me forget that me did tell you the other day. Yeah, what you going to do now? Bring up Aaron and the elders. I make them come, but not bring nobody else. They can come. So me not understand how this God for Moses up on this mountain so wishy-washy, and him can't keep track of the things where him set to the people, the instructions that he gave. Him can't keep track. And how his information is not solid from the beginning, when I'm supposed to be led to believe that he's unchangeable. Whatever I'm saying can't change. He must say the right thing from the beginning. And that I'm supposed to work with. But the math isn't mathing. Because the same way with Jethro having to tell Moses, say, you one can't sit down up on the mountain there, so have the people, all these people coming to you every day with their problems. You're never going to get rest. You're never going to be able to eat. You're going to end up with a backlog. You're not going to be able to, one person can't do it. One person cannot do it. So you have to have lay people. You have to have, you have a governor, you have to have a senator, you have to have a mayor, you have to have community activists, you have to have people who control the people in small numbers before it get to you. It took Jethro. And Jethro wasn't even a Hebrew. And it took him to tell Moses that what he was doing was foolishness. That what Moses was doing, Moses claimed God told him to do. And then now, Moses is going up on this mountain to talk to God, who is on this mountain. And God are going to tell him, the people that must come near us. And if them as much as touch the mountain, he is supposed to put them to death. If them as much as touch the mountain, the animal them or the people, because he knows that some of these people might try to be nosy. Of course, yes. If I was in that crowd, I was really on that mountain. I mean, if God wants to talk to us, I would claim that God is up in heaven, and if he wants to talk, if he talk from up there, we might hear better than if he come down and he's behind smoke, hiding behind fire and smoke, and then threatening anybody who tried to see what is behind the fire and the smoke, threatening them with death. Our questions. And then he says to Moses to bring up the priest up on the mountain. And Moses had to remind him, I said, listen, say nobody, none of people else can come up on the mountain, just me. Him say, all right, no remember. All right, bring up the priest, bring up Aaron and the others up here, but not the rest of the ordinary people. If this teaching to Moses by this God that he says was teaching me, this teaching is so pliable, if this teaching is consistent, how can anyone stand up and say, whatever I believe, whatever is in the Bible, all generations, all the world will follow it? You can't honestly say that, because if the information can, then it is also, if people would want to put their own spin on it. You can't blame people if they put their own spin on it, because it was that firm and concrete information from the beginning, which tells me that the information was not coming from an all-knowing entity. It was coming from an individual who also has the potential to make mistakes, an ordinary human being who has the potential to make mistakes and to change their minds and to view things differently. That is what I have found in my reading of the text. So this morning we have read Exodus chapters 18 and 19. And that is what I have concluded from having read it with an open mind, coming in with trying my darndest not to have my former indoctrination influence what I am actually reading and thinking right now. Okay? So that's it for this morning. I'm not going to stay here too long. We have other things to do. That we are going to another morning, maybe tomorrow morning, we will come back and continue with the reading. I decipher for myself more than anything else the contents of the Bible and how it applies to me in particular, and whether or not this information here I can use, because I'm not one of those people who want to jump and grab stuff Like, you can't just tell me something and those people is going to be valuable that I'm going to just say, oh, that's got to be true. No, me, I'm not one of them people there. I'm a skeptic at heart. Yeah. And I will ask questions because if something don't look right, it probably isn't right. So I have to ask questions about what is going on, why you tell me say, what you want me to do. Yeah. And the same way with in this Bible here. The questions continue to mount and the answers remain quite sparse. But that's where we are going to end this morning. When we come back tomorrow, we will go over another chapter in the Bible. But that's going to be it from me for this morning, my friends. Until next time, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, guys, and I will see you all again tomorrow with another topic. See you later, guys.